see. Get up on your feet, rise up.
Welcome to another segment of the Drexel Seymour Show. First, before I start, I just want to say thank all of you for your continued support and your views and feedback on all the shows that I have done. Today, I have a special guest, and before I introduce the guest, I just want to say that I know that there'll be some people who have decided not to pursue tertiary education for whatever reason. Some didn't have the opportunity, some don't see the need, and some already have a lot of experience and they're very successful. And there'll be some people who decide to pursue it because it's part of achieving their goal. And for those of you who have decided to pursue education, I want to encourage you to embrace all the knowledge, to acquire as much knowledge as you can. And also those who have pursued it, I don't want you to be discouraged because of the school you went to. The important thing is that you are on a journey to enhance your knowledge. However, for those of you who are able to get into an Ivy League college, I think it speaks volume. I think it's a great thing that can be accomplished. Getting into college is hard for some people because the acceptance rate for some schools are not high. So the fact that you could get into an Ivy League school speaks volumes. And so today I am so happy to have Jenna Hatmin. Jenna will be going to Harvard University in this fall, and we're going to have this conversation with her. And I think it's a great achievement, a great milestone, because Harvard is considered the #1 university in the world. And with that said, I want to take this opportunity to officially welcome Jenna Hatmin to the show. Thank you, Jenna.
Thank you.
Well, Jenna, tell us about yourself. Who is Jenna Hatmin?
So I'm from Georgetown, Guyana, but I've been living in the Turks and Caicos these past 10 years, I think, now.
Okay.
So I went to Precious Treasures, and then I went to international school, and then I did my secondary school education at BWIC, the Collegiate. I did 10 IGCSEs and I did 3 A-levels. Maths, chemistry, and physics.
Oh wow, that is great to you. So you're on your way now to Harvard. Now tell us, I know you have very good grades. How were you able to achieve such great grades? What do you think? For people watching the show, who I know people have different learning patterns and learning issues, but how do you think you were able to get such good grades?
I think a very important thing is to be interested in the material. Even if you don't like the subject, find a way to make the material interesting for you. So for me, I don't study by reading the book and just writing notes. I might be watching a video on the topic, and then I take a walk, and then I try to explain it to my mom. I'm well known in my house for just talking to people, just random things. They don't know what I'm talking about. If you can teach somebody else the same information, you should have a pretty good grasp of it. So it's not even necessarily just reading it. It's like reading to understand, and if you can enjoy it or make it fun for yourself, it makes it so much easier.
Wow, I love that methodology. I love that. So and the good thing now, we are so accessible to the internet that you can download videos. I think that's a great study habit actually, because there's so much information out there, and it works for you, and I'm quite sure it will work for others. Because sometimes you read the book, you understand, but videos, the visual is better. And then you apply it by sharing it with someone else. Like in your case, you share it with your mom. Okay, awesome. I like that. I'm gonna try it with my 3 boys. Do you do extracurricular activities?
Yes, so my parents got me started. I don't have a lot, but my parents got me started in music when I was very young. I took piano lessons, and then that translated to I played violin in the band for a bit, And then I moved on to the double bass, which has been my main instrument for these past 5 years.
Okay. What about sports?
I swim,
Oh, wow.
recreationally mostly. But
Oh. You learned swimming here or you?
No,
Mm.
I started when I was 3.
Oh, okay. That is great. So how are you able to balance the the music and the swimming, the actual activities with maintaining those good grades?
So you don't have to study in blocks. Studying doesn't have to be a long, laborious process. It can be something as small as 30 minutes a day. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that really adds up over the course of 36 weeks. So basically, you're like only doing an hour of activity maybe a day. I swam maybe max 2 hours, and I volunteered at a swim club during the term time. So maybe I was doing 3 hours of extracurriculars, and I still had time to maybe do 2 hours per subject because I broke it up. I'd wake up in the morning and I maybe read a chapter, and then I would brush my teeth thinking about it, so that I basically knew the topic. I didn't have to reread. If you study efficiently, you don't have to keep going over the same material. So by the time you're done, you've built up maybe the whole book by the end of the year.
I like it. That's what I tell. That's what I told my sons. I say, sometimes, they're cramming so much the night before the exam. I say no. I say, if you guys can get all this thing down packed throughout the term, you didn't even need to study the night before the exam.
Yes.
And I like your habit. You spend an hour, 30 minutes. And I remember having a conversation with one of the technical directors at the National Football League, and he was saying how a lot of parents, when it's time for the exam week, they pull their kids, out of the football, and he said, but you must balance, and that's a very good point, because in life, you balance, you don't need to be just doing one thing all the time. And what I like about you, people might be watching and say, oh, she might probably just keep studying, but you have being able to balance that. So tell us about Harvard. How did you prepare for Harvard? I'm not assuming, I knew you had to take the SAT. So how did you prepare for the SAT?
So I actually started the work for applying 2 years ago.
Really?
In 2020. I hadn't taken the SAT until 2021, but I knew I wanted to go to the States. All of my family's in the States, so a lot of the TCI is focused on the UK. It's a
Right.
territory, so
Right.
it's much harder to get information about going to the US.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the SAT, but the SAT center, knowing how to take the test. The test is multiple choice, which we don't really do here. So a lot of it was test strategy done, again, over the course of the year. I didn't focus a lot on the SAT during the term, but summers were spent. I would do maybe 2 practice tests over the course of the summer, and I practice on weak areas, especially since American maths and English, which they test, is a bit different from the way we teach it.
Yes.
You really want to get started early, because you don't know what you're missing until you're sitting there and you're missing it. I took my first attempt in October, and I will admit I was a bit overconfident. I was thinking, okay, I'm in A-level maths, this should be easy. And I was in for a rude awakening, because I didn't know like half of the second section, and I was so surprised.
Really?
Yes, it was a bit of a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was prepared the second time around when I took it, so I took it twice.
Okay. That is awesome. And then, okay, now you say if most of your family's in the United States, and what made you choose Harvard? Did you choose other schools? Did you apply to other schools as well, or you just was adamant on going to Harvard University?
So I actually applied to 15 schools.
Oh, 15.
I don't recommend applying to so many, but you do need a nice spread because admissions are so competitive.
Very competitive.
You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. You need to know, okay, I have to have at least 2 backups. And so a lot of applying to the US is finding schools that will fit you and that you can afford. That's part of the fit. And that, that you're not trying to game the system. So for example, Harvard had like a 5% acceptance rate, so I applied to 2.
5%?
It was about that.
Wow.
So I applied to 2 schools with similar acceptance rates, and then I did 2 schools with 20, and then 30, and then 50, so that I wasn't just leaving myself up to chance.
That is great. So when you got the news that when you got your letter of acceptance, when you applied, did you feel you were going to get accepted, knowing that the acceptance rate is 5%? And how did you react when you got the letter?
So I didn't think I was going to get in. I applied 2 days before the deadline.
Really?
Yes. I wasn't sure I wanted to, but I'd spent so long on the essays, I was like, just send it in. The worst they could say is no.
Exactly.
So I did it, and the day before results came out, I was so anxious the entire day. I couldn't focus. I was like, oh my God, it's tomorrow. So when decisions did come out, I couldn't believe it. My mom couldn't believe it. She had to take the computer and read it. It was completely surprising.
Amazing. Well, I know I'm so happy for you, and the entire Turks and Caicos is happy for you. Of course, I know the family, Diana, everybody's just happy for you. And when I saw that press release came out from British West, I said, man, I have to have Jenna on this show. So I'm grateful for this opportunity. Do you have any what sort of advice? I know you talk about don't apply to at least 50, you say you apply to 15, and you spread out your applicants depending on the percentage of acceptance. But what advice would you give to individuals now that you went through the process? What advice would you give?
So don't underestimate yourself. You don't have to have straight A's at the beginning, but you have to show, I think, a love of learning and ability to improve. I started off the years with B's and sometimes C's.
Really?
Yes.
I thought you was always A.
No, but over the course of my 4 years in secondary school, you just improve and you get to the point. Even if you don't start with A's, you can get there. Yes, and they will take you. You just need to want to learn and be willing to learn and open yourself up to learning opportunities. It is a lot of work, just not only getting the grades, but doing the SAT and just researching schools in itself is a lot of work, but
absolutely,
it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. So what would you be studying at Harvard?
I plan to study physics.
Physics?
Yes.
Wow. I got a U in physics. I took the, what do you call it again? Was it GCE? GCE. And honestly, teacher at the time, he's from India. He taught us mostly 1 year in physics, and he put all of us, I don't remember how many of us was in the class. This was back in 1985, I think. And he put us up for physics, and all of us got U. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't understand it, but they still put us up, and we took the exam. We were lost. So majoring in physics, that's amazing. So with your physics degree, I think I read you want to do a PhD. What do you want to do your PhD in eventually?
I'm really interested in particle physics. So the line between physics and chemistry really intersects. So quantum and maybe the really microscopic is what I'm really interested in, but I don't know, it depends.
All right, so break that down for me. What do you mean by particles and all that stuff?
So like atoms, the things that make atoms.
Mm-hmm.
Things.
So you want to be like a researcher?
Yes.
Okay, that is incredible. I'm really excited. I'm going to continue to watch you over the remainder of the years in pursuing your educational journey. With that said, I don't know any closing remarks. No closing remarks. All right. Well, thank you again, Jenna. For those who've been watching the show, I hope that that you are inspired by this interview. And I like what Jenna said. You have to be willing to learn. You don't have to be an all A student. I like the fact that you say don't underestimate yourself, because sometimes you may feel, I'm not going to get accepted into Harvard. I'm not going to get accepted into Ivy school. But you would know unless you tried. And she Jenna is a true example. I thought she was always A, and she just showed us that she's not. But she eventually proved. And so I hope that this interview inspires you, and I hope children that are watching this are also inspired. You may only be getting C's or D's, but you can always improve your grades. And not because you have in the lower grade means you could continue the rest of your time in secondary school. You could improve. And I encourage people to get involved in extracurricular activities. You have to find a balance. Don't focus too much on the academics. Try and change the way we study. I know a lot of us sometimes we like to memorize. That's what I did growing up in South Caicos. All I did was memorize, and I couldn't tell you what it was. I just memorized and I just regurgitate. But one thing I learned when I went to college in Ohio, the memorizing didn't work, because what they did on the testing, I couldn't regurgitate. The questions were based on your understanding of the information, and so you had to, reply on your responses by understanding. Now, when I was in high school, it was different. In high school, they told me exactly, the question was exactly what I studied, and all I did was repeat the answer. And so it's important that you understand what you are doing. I'm so glad that, Jenna raised that point. And I love the example we could go in the videos. And I think that my goddaughter, Chelsea Stubbs, when I had on the show, she also mentioned how she did different ways of learning. And one of those things she did also was to go on YouTube and did some studying, watch some videos. And I think the visual thing is good. And I think we also just encourage our children, don't wait until exam, we just study. Every day you try to understand what you study, and by the time you get to the exam time, you don't even have to do much studying, because you understand and you can apply it on your answers, and then you can do well. So thank you for watching the Drexel scene. I want to take again this opportunity to congratulate Jenna on her acceptance into Harvard University. This is a great milestone. The Turks and Caicos is proud of Jenna, and I'm quite sure everybody else is. But we'll be grateful. So remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.